见往之来，总书记专程考察这2个文化地标有深意。北京中轴线恢宏大气，贯通古都文脉。中轴线北延长线上，中国历史研究院建筑4顶如尊，硕大篆书始自高悬。再向北，燕山脚下，中国国家版本馆中央总馆坐落在青山绿水间。6月1日、6月2日，习近平总书记先后考察了中国国家版本馆和中国历史研究院。中国国家版本馆、中国历史研究院都是新时代以来在习近平总书记亲切关怀、高度重视下建成的国家级文化地标。2019年1月3日，中国历史研究院正式挂牌成立。成立前夕，习近平总书记发来贺信，代表党中央表示热烈的祝贺，向全国广大历史研究工作者致以诚挚的问候。2021年3月，中国国家版本馆等重大文化设施建设作为社会主义文化繁荣发展工程的重要内容，列入“十四五”规划纲要。历时3年建设，2022年7月23日，中国国家版本馆落成揭牌。成立落成时间不长，2家单位却都植根于中华文化的深厚底蕴，担负着赓续文脉、发展文化的神圣使命。作为文明发展的结晶和文化传承的金种子，版本铭记着中华民族诞生、发展、壮大的演进历程，承载着厚重的历史和灿烂的文化。中国国家版本馆正是国家版本资源总库和中华文化种子基因库。在建筑设计上，典藏文化特色、中华文化特征在这里得到充分彰显。在遴选藏品展品时，中国国家版本馆坚持以文化价值含量为标尺，典藏彰显中华优秀传统文化、革命文化和社会主义先进文化的各类出版物版本、印刷版本、特殊版本、数字版本和外国版本，将古今中外载有中华文明印记的10大类版本资源纳入保藏范围。精心设计、细致考量，只为建成新时代的国家文化殿堂，保藏足以传给后世的文化宝藏。历史和文化是2个密不可分的范畴。中国人自古重视历史研究，历来强调以史为鉴。另一方面，当代中国是历史中国的延续和发展，观察历史的中国是观察当代中国的一个重要角度。中国历史研究院以中国社会科学院历史学部相关研究所为基础组建，是新中国成立以来组建的第一个国家级历史学综合研究机构。在致中国社会科学院、中国历史研究院成立的贺信中，习近平总书记强调，新时代坚持和发展中国特色社会主义，更加需要系统研究中国历史和文化，更加需要深刻把握人类发展历史规律，在对历史的深入思考中汲取智慧，走向未来。贯彻总书记的要求，讲好中国历史，传播中国文化已列入中国历史研究院的主要职责中。在中国国家版本馆中央总馆文华堂南广场，一尊石印章巍然矗立，上面镌刻4个大字：赓续文脉。我国历朝历代都把版本保藏传承放在重要位置。汉代天禄阁、 唐代弘文馆，明代文渊阁，清代四库七阁，专藏机构绵亘千年。中国国家版本馆的建设成立，继承了这一光辉传统。考察中国国家版本馆时，习近平总书记又说：盛世修文，我们这个时代国家繁荣，社会平安稳定，有传承民族文化的意愿和能力，要把这件大事办好。习近平总书记历来重视中华文化保护传承，在福州考察时强调保护好传统街区，保护好古建筑，保护好文物，就是保存了城市的历史和文脉。在甘肃嘉峪关关城强调保护好中华民族精神生生不息的根脉，在中央经济工作会议上强调要敬畏历史、敬畏文化、敬畏生态一系列重要论述，为文化保护传承指明方向。语重心长，责任重大。截至目前，中国国家版本馆总分馆初步共入藏2500余万件册版本，其中不乏具有传世价值的经典版本。文化种子藏之名山，传之后世的美好愿景，正在逐步变为现实。习近平总书记在多个场合强调过重视学习历史，汲取历史智慧，要求共产党员具有历史思维。中国历史研究院成立不过10几天，在省部级主要领导干部坚持底线思维着力防范化解中大风险专题研讨班开班时，习近平总书记就将提高历史思维能力作为领导干部加强理论修养的要求之一。2021年10月17日，在仰韶文化发现和中国现代考古学诞生100周年之际，习近平总书记发来贺信，勉励广大考古工作者更好展示中华文明风采，弘扬中华优秀传统文化。2022年5月27日，19届中共中央政治局就深化中华文明探源工程进行第39次集体学习。习近平总书记强调，对中华传统文化要坚持古为今用，推陈出新，继承和弘扬其中的优秀成分。传承保护是为了固本开新。在中国国家版本馆，习近平总书记指出，要加强对收藏的研究，以便更好地做好典籍版本收藏工作。在中国历史研究院，习近平总书记勉励道，希望你们继承优良传统，团结凝聚全国广大历史研究工作者，不断提高研究水平，为中国式现代化建设贡献更多中国史学的智慧和力量。新编《中国通史》纂修工程正式启动，中华文明探源工程第5期考古中国项目等接续实施，古文字与中华文明传承发展工程、国家古籍数字化工程、点校本24史籍清史稿修订工程、复兴文库建设等国家级历史文化项目聚合历史研究国家队力量。4年多来，广大历史研究工作者的聪明才智和创造热情被充分激发，一项项重磅成果迭出，新时代历史研究走向新的发展阶段。从成立之初的关怀，到持续加以论述，再到此次连续2天的考察，习近平总书记对文化保护、传承、发展的重视一以贯之，体现出深厚的文化情怀和高远的历史眼光。 从中国共产党历史展览馆到中国非物质文化遗产馆，再到中国历史研究院、中国国家版本馆，党的18大以来，在以习近平同志为核心的党中央部署规划下，一座座新时代国家文化殿堂相继落成，也成为展现文化自信、传承文化遗产、激活中华文化的崭新标识。
Learning from the past and knowing the future, the General Secretary made a special trip to inspect these two cultural landmarks, which has profound meaning. The central axis of Beijing is grand and magnificent, running through the context of the ancient capital. On the northern extension of the central axis, the building of the Chinese Academy of History looks like a tripod and a statue, with the word history hanging high in the huge seal script. Further north, at the foot of Yanshan Mountain, the central headquarters of the National Edition Museum of China is located among the Green Mountains and Green Waters. On June 1st and June 2nd, General Secretary Xi Jinping successively inspected the National Edition Museum of China and the Chinese Academy of History. The National Edition Museum of China and the Chinese Academy of History are both national-level cultural landmarks that have been built under the care and attention of General Secretary Xi Jinping since the new era. On January 3, 2019, the Chinese Academy of History was officially established. On the eve of its establishment, General Secretary Xi Jinping sent a congratulatory letter, expressing warm congratulations on behalf of the Party Central Committee and extending sincere greetings to historical research workers across the country. In March 2021, the construction of major cultural facilities such as the China National Edition Museum, as an important part of the Socialist Cultural Prosperity and Development Project, was included in the 14th Five-Year Plan outline. After 3 years of construction, on July 23, 2022, the China National Version Museum was inaugurated. It has not been long since their establishment and completion, but both units are rooted in the profound heritage of Chinese culture and shoulder the sacred mission of continuing the culture and developing the culture. As the crystallization of civilization development and the golden seed of cultural inheritance, the edition bears in mind the evolution process of the birth, development, and growth of the Chinese nation, carrying a profound history and splendid culture. The National Edition Museum of China is exactly the National Edition Resource Library and the Chinese Culture Seed Gene Bank. In terms of architectural design, the cultural characteristics of the collection and the characteristics of Chinese culture are fully demonstrated here. When selecting the exhibits of the collection, the China National Version Museum insists on taking the cultural value as the yardstick, and the collection highlights the excellent traditional Chinese culture, revolutionary culture, and advanced socialist culture. Various publications, printed editions, special editions, digital editions, and foreign editions of various publications, including 10 types of edition resources that bear the imprint of Chinese civilization in ancient and modern China and abroad, are included in the scope of preservation. Elaborate design and meticulous consideration are only for the purpose of building a national cultural hall in the new era and preserving cultural treasures enough to be passed on to future generations. History and culture are two inseparable categories. The Chinese have attached great importance to historical research since ancient times, and have always emphasized taking history as a mirror. On the other hand, contemporary China is the continuation and development of historical China, and observing historical China is an important perspective for observing contemporary China. The Chinese Academy of History is established on the basis of related research institutes of the Department of History of the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. It is the first comprehensive research institution of national history established since the founding of New China. In his congratulatory letter to the establishment of the Institute of Chinese History of the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, General Secretary Xi Jinping emphasized that to uphold and develop socialism with Chinese characteristics in the new era, it is more necessary to systematically study Chinese history and culture and to deeply grasp the historical laws of human development. Learn wisdom from in-depth thinking and move towards the future. To implement the requirements of the General Secretary, telling Chinese history well and spreading Chinese culture has been included in the main responsibilities of the Chinese Academy of History. In the south square of the Wenhua Hall of the central headquarters of the China National Version Museum, a stone seal stands majestically, with 4 large characters engraved on it. Continuous context. All dynasties in our country have placed the preservation and inheritance of editions in an important position. The Tianlu Pavilion in the Han Dynasty, the Hongwen Pavilion in the Tang Dynasty, the Wenyuan Pavilion in the Ming Dynasty, the Sakuki Pavilion in the Qing Dynasty, the special collection institutions have lasted for thousands of years. The establishment of the National Edition Museum of China has inherited this glorious tradition. When inspecting the National Library of China, General Secretary Xi Jinping also said that Shangshi Xiuwen, in our era, the country is prosperous, the society is safe and stable, and we have the willingness and ability to inherit national culture, so we must do this major event well. General Secretary Xi Jinping has always attached great importance to the protection and inheritance of Chinese culture. During the investigation in Fuzhou, it was emphasized that protecting traditional blocks, ancient buildings, and cultural relics is to preserve the history and context of the city. In Jiaguan, Gansu, it emphasized protecting the everlasting root of the Chinese nation's spirit. At the Central Economic Work Conference, it was emphasized that respect for history, culture, and ecology. A series of important expositions pointed out the direction for cultural protection and inheritance. With earnestness, the responsibility is great. Up to now, more than 25 million pieces, volumes, of editions have been preliminarily collected by the main branch of the National Editions Museum of China, among which there are many classic editions that have the value of being handed down from generation to generation. The beautiful vision of the cultural seed of a famous mountain in Tibet and passed on to future generations is gradually becoming a reality. General Secretary Xi Jinping has emphasized on many occasions to attach importance to learning history and absorbing historical wisdom, and requires Communist Party members to have historical thinking. The Chinese Academy of History has only been established for more than 10 days. At the opening ceremony of the seminar on the main provincial and ministerial level, leading cadres insisting on bottom-line thinking and focusing on preventing and diffusing major risks, General Secretary Xi Jinping will improve the ability of historical thinking as one of the requirements for leading cadres to strengthen their theoretical cultivation. 1. On October 17, 2021, on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the discovery of the Yanxiao culture and the birth of modern Chinese archaeology, General Secretary Xi Jinping sent a congratulatory letter, encouraging archaeologists to better demonstrate the elegance of Chinese civilization and carry forward the excellent traditional Chinese culture. On May 27, 2022, the Political Bureau of the 19th CPC Central Committee conducted the 39th Group Study on Deepening the Exploration of Chinese Civilization. General Secretary Xi Jinping emphasized that for traditional Chinese culture, we must adhere to the principle of using the past for the present, weeding out the old and bringing forth the new, and inheriting and promoting it. Excellent ingredients. Inheritance and protection are for the purpose of consolidating foundations and creating new ones. In the National Edition Museum of China, General Secretary Xi Jinping pointed out that it is necessary to strengthen the research on collections in order to better do a good job in the collection of classics and editions. At the Chinese Academy of History, General Secretary Xi Jinping encouraged you to inherit the fine traditions, unite the vast number of historical research workers across the country, continuously improve the level of research, and contribute more wisdom and strength of Chinese historiography to Chinese-style modernization. The new General History of China compilation project was officially launched. The fifth phase of the Chinese Civilization Exploration Project, the Archaeological China Project, etc. were implemented successively. The Ancient Characters and Chinese Civilization Inheritance and Development Project, the National Ancient Book Digitization Project, and the 20 years National Historical and Cultural Projects such as the Four Histories, the Revision Project of Drafts of Qing History, and the construction of Fuxing Library gather the strength of the national team of historical research. Over the past 4 years, the ingenuity and creative enthusiasm of the vast number of historical research workers have been fully stimulated, and one after another has produced major achievements, and historical research in the new era has entered a new stage of development. From the care at the beginning of its establishment, to the continuous discussion, and to this 2-day inspection, General Secretary Xi Jinping has consistently attached importance to cultural protection, inheritance, and development, reflecting profound cultural feelings and lofty historical vision. From the History Exhibition Hall of the Communist Party of China, to the China Intangible Cultural Heritage Museum, to the Chinese History Research Institute, and the China National Version Museum, since the 18th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, under the deployment and planning of the party's Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at the core, the national cultural halls of the times have been completed one after another, and they have also become brand new symbols to show cultural confidence, inherit cultural heritage, and activate Chinese culture.